विदितानमया विशदैककला न च किञ्चन काञ्चनमस्ति गुरो धृतमेव विधेहि कृपां सहजां भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणम् भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणम् भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणम्
भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 share the text so that we see where we are. We have finished the first verse in this section, the first mantra, having this wonderful imagery. And what is the imagery? That from the same flame, lots of sparks arise from the same, thousands of sparks from the same flame, and then they are all sarupaha. They all have the same properties of the fire, which namely are heat and light. And so in the same way, O beloved student, Somya, the teacher says, O beloved one, in the same way, tatha aksharat. Aksharat means from that Purusha, from that source. We have given a very long introduction here to this. So from that very source, from that same source, from Ishvara, in other words, Ishvara means that akshara, which I want to be, that akshara which I want to understand as myself, that akshara is the one endowed with Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti means the power to create, take back, and sustain. That Maya Shakti, that the one who is the creative power, that one, endowed with that one, then prajayante. So all the various prajas, the various jivas have as though come, as though we say, because it's all a projection, number one. And number two, we say as though because the jivas are Ishvara really, but with a twist. And what is that twist? Ajnanam. That's all it is. They don't know that they are Ishvara. So just that same Ishvara has as though populated the various bodies and minds, like the fire puts itself in every spark. As the properties of the fire are present in every spark, the heat and the light, Similarly, Satchidananda is there in every name and form. And that is and then they prajayante, they issue forth, and then they apiyanti, means after that namarupa resolves. After the namarupa drops, dies, resolves, however you want to look at it, they all go back to Ishvara. So this is what we call the Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means the a dynamic understanding of Satchidananda as it pertains to consciousness, as it pertains to the world, as it pertains to a manifest Jagat. So, because the world can't be left hanging, the world is, because one is dealing with it every day, one is born here, and in fact, one is living here, and not only one is born here and living here, the main source of pain is the world, and main source of joy is also seen to be the world, but that nobody dwells on. Mostly the pain one dwells on. And so, therefore, prajayante tatra chaiva apiyanti. So that's where they come and go. And so then Ishvara, with relation to the manifest universe, the same Satchidananda, endowed with an endless upadhi of power and overlordship, etc. That is what is called Ishvara. And that upadhi is all-knowing Maya Shakti. Jiva Upadhi is also Maya, but in the form of Atma Ajnanam. That's the thing. Because the Jiva has individualized itself and turned away from this identifying with Ishvara because of Atma Ajnanam. And so that is the thing. So this is Tatastha Lakshana. Then in the next verse, we have little bit of what is that? Swarupa Lakshana. What is it by itself? And so let us look at this mantra. Divyo hyamurtaf purushah sabhahyabhyantaro hyajah. Divyo hyamurtaf purushah sabhahyabhyantaro hyajah. Aprano hyamana shubhrah hyaksharat parataf parah. Aprano hyamana shubhrah hyaksharat parataf parah. So let us just see this. Then the whole section will go back and forth between the Tatastha Lakshana, which is the definition of Ishvara with regard to the universe as the overlord of the universe, the one who is manifest in the form of various laws, and the one who is the overlord of those laws. So that is the Tatastha Lakshana. And then it will switch back between that and Swarupa Lakshana. What is Ishvara? Essentially speaking, when you take away the accoutrements of world overlordship and all knowledge, etc., and when you take away the accoutrement of Maya Shakti, what is this Ishvara? That Ishvara is you as Satchidananda. So what is this Ishvara? Divyaha. Divyaha means what? All light. All light means what? There cannot be something, okay, so am I looking at the sun? Am I looking at lightning? No. Here, all light, Divyaha means in the form of self-evident consciousness. So here, we share something with Ishvara here, because the Jiva is also what? Self-evident consciousness. What is Ishvara? Self-evident consciousness. Why do you say consciousness? Because it's a conscious being. The knowledge I am rests in a conscious being. The knowledge of I exist is I know. That is the knowledge. So I am and I know are intrinsically linked. They cannot be separated. No separation is possible. I am and I know. And so this I am, I know, which is there, and this I am and I know is something which is so wonderful. I am and I know. And what is Ishvara? Ishvara is, and Ishvara also is that same consciousness which is self-evident. Self-evident consciousness which is not subject to destruction is in three words known as Satyam Jnanam Anantam or Satchidanam. So, Divyaha, self-evident consciousness, is the essential definition of this Ishvara. Then he indeed Amurtaha. Because the next question arises, where is this Ishvara? I want to see. I want to look at this Ishvara. Amurtaha, you can't because there is no form. If Satchidananda had a form, you don't have to be disappointed here. Like people say, oh, no, so sad. How will I greet Ishvara? And also, I have all these spiritual romantic fantasies. Vishnu will come with chakra in hand, and what else? What is the other insignia of Vishnu? The wheel and the conch shell. Shankha in the other hand, chakra in one hand to relieve me of the annoying neighbor. Chakra is to behead the annoying neighbor. Okay. Yeah. And so I will come to save me from all kinds of difficulties. Just like he came to save this Gajendra, the elephant. The elephant was caught by a crocodile, Puranic story. And then what happened? It cried out, it trumpeted Vishnu's name. And Vishnu rushed without his chakra. Even he left his Angavastram there. It had to be couriered by goddess Lakshmi. And this is what it says. And that is how, my friends, FedEx was born. Okay. Yeah. And so that was the first time FedEx was used. And it was couriered back to the earth, where with which help he could take care of the crocodile. So there are all these spiritual fantasies, romantic fantasies. If I pray really hard, God will give darshan. And then how do you explain all this? So if we have Shraddha towards the Shastra, then then this Avatara Vada, etc. must be believed. Must be, Avatara Vada means like that Bhagavan is capable of taking a form and blessing me with that must be believed naturally. Because, because it is there in Bhagavad Gita. And you say, okay, Bhagavad Gita is what? Man-made. Literally, it is composed by Lord Vyasa. It doesn't have the same force as the primary text, the Upanishads. You can say that, but you can't get away with that. Why? Because even in the Upanishads, the Avatara is there. Where Avatara Vada comes from the Upanishad itself. Avatara is there. Bhagavan takes avatara, Bhagavan takes a particular form. When? In the Kenopanishad. As this elusive yaksha. And then comes and it crashes the party where Indra, Agni, Vayu are beating their chests. And what are they saying? Asmakameva Vijayaha. Asmakameva Mahima. Ours is the victory. Ours is the glory. And perhaps that's why in the Bible they changed. Thine is the glory, they say. And perhaps after studying this only they changed it. Maybe some places where they in the Christian mass and prayers, if you go, so thine is the glory, thine is the kingdom, all these things, you attribute to Bhagavan. But here it is ours is the glory. And how I vanquished this Asura. Agni said, I went like a fireball and chased him out of the battlefield. Vayu said, oh, you had to chase him. I just sat in one place and blew at him, and he just was literally blown away. And Indra said, oh, you younglings, I just had to look at him, and he just evaporated. And so, like this, they were having a lot of celebration. And then, somebody said, Knock, knock, who is there? Yaksha, Yaksha who? Yaksha you, that's what. And, but you don't understand. You don't understand that. And so Bhagavan had to take a form in order to show that the glory and everything rests in Bhagavan. One is not the doer. That is the lesson. That is the lesson here. But to show this amurtatvam, amurta means the one without a form, to show that Bhagavan in the form of the Yaksha immediately disappeared. Excuse me. When Indra came to inquire, when Indra came near the Yaksha and said, okay, is it an apparition? Is it a kind of a play of light and shadow? Or can I touch this Yaksha? And can I take blessings of this Yaksha? And he tried to do namaskara. And then the Yaksha disappears, as though asking, unto whom are you doing this prostration? Unto whom are you doing this namaskara? And because really, that is the form is just a magic. It's a Maya magic. So then, what about my spiritual romanticism? Will Bhagavan give darshan? All I will say is, don't hold your breath. But it is possible because we see the proof of this in the primary texts. We see that it is and that same Yaksha, after having disappeared, comes back as the goddess Haimavati Uma, as the teacher of the Upanishad. And then one more avatara we see in the Upanishad, which is Dakshinamurti avatara. And even though we say Dakshina, and then what is at the end? Murti. But if you resolve the compound, Dakshinascha asau amurtascha. That which is amurta, same word here. Hyamurtaha. Oh, but there it is amurtaha, here it is hyamurtaha. What does it mean? It is just a he. All right. Oh, but I thought God was he and she. It's not that he. It is he. Yasmat. It is a Sanskrit he. All right. He means yasmat. Because. Or indeed. That is the meaning of the he. And that he is there in everything here. Hyamurtaha. Hyajaha. Hyamanaha. Hyaksharat parataf. But don't count this here over here. Okay. Yeah. That is bahya. That is a separate word. All right. But everywhere you see here, he, and then the next word has to be followed by a. So the e plus a makes it ya. So here and then here and then here and then here. So everywhere there is this he. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Or because. Sometimes it is indeed, sometimes it is because. We will see how that works out. So divyaha, and then at the same time amurtaha, formless. Who? This purushaha. This purushaha, that which pervades the whole universe in the form of this source. The source itself is formless. But that means it has the ability to take on all the forms. Whatever form it wants, it can take on. No problem at all. And then, but at the same time, if you're wanting to have darshan of Bhagavan, that is also possible, but not perhaps in the way that we imagine. Our imagination is always, based on raga, dvesha, and so certain forms are very delightful. Baby Krishna coming in the form of baby Krishna, who doesn't want that? So cute and so effulgent and everything. And so we all have the favorite forms, Ishtadevata. But if we are catching on to those forms, two things happen. One is we miss the forms in which Bhagavan does appear. When? On a daily basis. Suddenly you are lost. Some Samaritan comes and gives you directions. Suddenly you need something. You just feel faint. You're walking on the road. Somebody offers you a drink of water. That is all manifestation. That is all avatars, baby avatars, and baby manifestations of this Bhagavan alone. You never expected something, but then it happened. Bhagavan. So if we catch hold of these favorite forms, then the forms in which Bhagavan chooses to operate in your life is all missed off, missed out, dropped down, all missed out. All right. And so that is the first thing we have to see. And so whatever form I encounter is Bhagavan. Whatever form comes to me when I call for help, that is what has been sent by Bhagavan, is a manifestation of Bhagavan. That is what we have to understand. So the first problem with the spiritual romanticism of wanting Bhagavan to come in a particular form is that all the other forms that Bhagavan does use are missed. Totally missed. And the second problem is that looking and relating to Bhagavan only in the form of a particular form, he can inhibit the knowledge of Bhagavan as oneself as formless. So somehow the bhakti is balanced with the knowledge. That is what one has to do. The bhakti should be balanced with the knowledge. And there should be enough space for the knowledge to enter the heart without really contradicting the bhakti. In fact, the bhakti becomes a road for the heart. So then, then we have all these avatars, Dakshinamurti, who is actually Amurtaha, who is in essence formless. And so where is this? The next question that arises is, where is this Ishvara? Where is this God? Is this God in some kind of a heaven, having abandoned this universe? No. Saha Bhakyaha. Bhakyaha means outside. And then Abhyantaraha, inside. Inside what? Anything? Anything that has name and form, the content of which is Bhagavan. Oh, but I have a name and I have a form. Yes, that which indwells this name and form called whatever your name is Bhagavan alone. And so when is Bhagavan's birthday? Ajaha, unborn. No day in particular, because time is yet to come, space is yet to come, and they are all relative. Space is everything that has come, so to speak, is relative, and including your relatives. All right, so everything is relative. Space has come, time has come. It's as though it's all a manifestation of the absolute that is just held so that one can learn some things in this karma bhumi, in this place where I contribute, where I receive certain lessons and certain blessings. It is all ultimately it is a show. When one is ready to see that, ultimately it is a show. So ajaha. So the nature of Bhagavan, Ishvara, God, whatever you want to call, it is unborn. It cannot be born. If God has a birthday, then then it really messes with the understanding of Vedanta. Oh, but we are going to celebrate Lord Rama's birthday in 3 days. How can you say that? Again, avatara means that Bhagavan which has walked the earth. So same way we celebrate Jesus Christ's birthday also, same thing. So that is because that in the human body, in the human form, or even we even say animal form, Bhagavan has come, that can have birthday. That will have birthday, all these things. So to speak, it's all relative. It's all on the empirical reality. So then on Rama's birthday, how do we celebrate Rama's birthday? By making lemonade. Yeah, really. Because it comes at the time when Rama's birthday comes. It's very hot in India. So this cool lemonade is offered to Lord Rama, but actually it's offered to oneself. But Lord Rama becomes a nice excuse to be able to offer this lemonade to Bhagavan so that I can drink it afterwards. That's what it is. It's not really for Bhagavan, it's for myself alone, but then it comes through Bhagavan. That's what it is. So like this, there is all these things. And for Krishna's birthday, all these so many 56 varieties of food items are made and offered. And then you don't have to cook for a few days. All right, so many things are there in the house. And so like this, there is the birthdays, so to speak, are not for God. They are for that particular iteration of Bhagavan that one believes has walked the earth. All right. And then further, apranaha, that which is the source, that consciousness which is that consciousness which is endowed with the ability to create, to sustain and take back, and that consciousness which is myself alone cannot depend on breathing, cannot depend on breathing in order to be alive. That is, it is conscious and sentient without needing to breathe. Because if Bhagavan needed to breathe, then then that which is called God would be dependent upon air, dependent upon oxygen, etc. And then again would become finite. So aprana, free of prana, free of needing to breathe, and free of all other pranic functions, including respiration, digestion, circulation, elimination, all this is not there. Shubhraha. Shubhraha means no guilt, no hurt, no kama. Kama means strong desires needing to be fulfilled, no agenda, and no raga, dvesha, no prejudices, no preferences. This is what Bhagavan is. So no preferences means no partiality. It's not that Bhagavan is, oh, Bhagavan likes me. I don't know whether Bhagavan likes or not. No such thing at all. And then Aksharat Parataf Paraha. Aksharat means here the word Akshara is contextual. Up till now we have been seeing the word Akshara. See, here also Akshara is there. Tatha Aksharad. So here Akshara means from that source. That source is called Akshara. Here Akshara means Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti means the ability, the power with which Bhagavan creates the whole thing. That Satchidananda, that consciousness which is existent, which is the source of all existence, but which is in itself self-existent. That self-existent consciousness, which is limitless, does not have the ability to do anything or create anything. It simply is. So when we talk of creation, it is more of a projection of itself into the one which has as though become many. And we find the same sentiment in the Bible as well. And let me become many. So that's what it is. And in the beginning, there was Word, and the Word was with God. Nay, the Word was God. That word means knowledge. If you look at the Latin meaning of the word, it is knowledge. It's the same word as knowledge. And so that knowledge is that all knowledge rests in a conscious being and ensues forth. Ensues forth. And so when the Bible says all this God created out of nothing, for our own understanding, we have to add else, nothing else other than this knowledge. So that creative power which which as though has the ability to manifest this all knowledge into various names and forms, is called Maya Shakti, the creative power. And that power is all knowledge, really, because that power may be able to manifest the name and the form, but it is indeed all knowledge alone. It's all knowledge, it's nothing other than knowledge. Because if you pick up something in the universe, if you pick up a leaf, what is leaf other than all knowledge? Leaf is nothing but all knowledge. How those veins of the leaf are there, how the chlorophyll is distributed, how because of this that leaf is able to take the solar energy and convert it into food. Amazing, amazing knowledge. And that when it decomposes, it doesn't leave it is completely biodegradable. It's unlike styrofoam. Styrofoam competes with the nityatvam of Atma. It's as nitya as Atma almost. It does not degrade at all. But here, this is totally biodegradable. And even after it's given its life up, it is used as compost. It is useful. All this is knowledge. There is intelligence behind every name, every form. It's intelligence. That knowledge is there. And that knowledge alone we are talking about as that creative power. And that knowledge and the creative power are working in tandem. And if I just look at the creative power, it is very, 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 very awesome. It's extremely awesome. Then what happens when I look at the creative power? I get mesmerized. I get mesmerized. I just look at the colors. I look at the shapes. I look at the names. I look at the forms and get completely mesmerized. And so the creative power has a kind of a trapping tendency because we can't blame the creative power. We have to blame the way in which we interact with the creative power as well. We have to take responsibility for that. So it has a mesmerizing tendency, that creative power. And so when I look at the name and form, and then it's so beautiful, whether it's a person or a thing or a happening, doesn't matter. It is so mesmerizing. It is so intriguing that there is a sense of mistaking the name and the form for that Satchidananda. Because that Satchidananda is in every name, every form. That self-effulgent, self-existent, all knowledge, limitlessness is there in every name and form. But if I only relate to the creative power, without knowing that it's a creative power, if I just relate to the name and form, then what happens? There is a kind of a trapping tendency. I can mistake the finite for the infinite. But here, what are we being taught? We are being taught to relate to the infinite in and through every finite object, event, situation, person, whatever person means with regard to the body, mind, sense complex. We are being taught to reverse that thinking. And instead of falling in love with every name and form, we are asked to look beyond the name and form. Beyond means what? Beyond means, should I look behind something? No. Should I break it with a hammer and look inside something? That is also not possible. So the only thing that is possible is revolving the vision, revolutionizing the vision, kind of having Vedantic vision, which is like an X-ray vision, so to speak, which can look through the name and form. I look for that which abides in every name and form. So the knowledge and the creative power are extremely, inextricably linked. But then, if I just look at the creation without reckoning the knowledge, then what happens is that one falls in love with the finite and suffers as a result. So, therefore, I look at the entire creation as a projection, as though projection of this Satchidananda, as though projection of this Atma, myself alone. And if that is too much, I look at the entire creation. You step back a little bit and you look at the entire creation as a manifestation of Ishvara. And who is this Ishvara? Satyam Jnanam Anantam or Satchidananda. Satchidananda means that self-effulgent existence, source of all existence, which is limitless, which is all knowledge. So when I connect to that all knowledge, I include myself because I also am self-effulgent existence, which is all knowledge, which knows what it knows, which knows what it doesn't know. And in fact, all means that what is the definition of all? The definition of all is sum total of what you know plus what you don't know. That is all. That is all. That's all it is. And so that is why there is that connection. So when I look at it as all knowledge, then I am in touch with the source. I'm in touch with the truth of myself. The flower which I see, I can look at it two ways. I can say, oh, what is this? So intriguing. Never seen something like this. Look at the petals. So different. Oh, look at this heady fragrance. Never encountered this. And what is the name of this flower? Let me Google it. Let me take a picture. Now you can do that. You can put pictures in Google and then it will tell you what it is. And then so let me look at this. What is that? Photo recognition technology has come for all the internet browsers. So then I quickly take a picture and put it there. And then what? Then the desire arises to have it in the backyard. And then you look at its habitat. It needs a Himalaya-like. It's always like that. Here you are in southern India, and then it needs a Himalaya-like atmosphere. And so then what do? You just have to make something cool and try to grow it, and then it will grow a little wilted, and then it will try to be alive before it just goes. Or sometimes one is in some northern area, cold. This happens with a lot of Indian immigrants. They go somewhere in the northeast, and they want to grow banana trees. I want to have banana trees. And you ask them why. You will not get a convincing answer. I want to have banana trees. And that banana trees, they knit a sweater for it in the winter. I'm exaggerating, but not too much. And then it has to be eat so much thing, and then it has to be brought in, and it has to be coddled, and you have to sing it a lullaby, and little heat lamps, and then plastic is wrapped in the fall, and it's brought in. Same thing with the curry leaf also. And then and then it has got a bug, and then you spray something, some neem spray you put out to take care of the bugs. And that poor banana plant doesn't look like a banana plant at all. In fact, I got to somebody's house and they proudly showed, and it just looked like a sad little this much. And I said, oh, you newly planted it. No, they said, we have been tending to it for 3 years. And so sad. But then that will not go. This is what happens. Nothing wrong. Have banana plants, doesn't matter. But the point is this, that when you fall in love with the name and form to the exclusion of this all knowledge, then what happens is that it becomes a source of worry. It becomes a source of clinging. That is where the clinging happens. That clutching and the clinging happens at this level. So, you can, America is like little India now. Whatever you want, you can find. Banana leaf, check, you can find. You can order it off the internet. We did that, in fact. for one Kumbhabhishekam or something like that. And all the banana leaves came, and it's all, and then you want it in whichever shape they cut it and give you. They say, if you say our plates are 8 inches, so they will cut 7 3/4 inches. They will cut in a circle the banana leaves, and it comes all nicely wrapped in wet cloth. It will come. It will be courier to your house. And so it is just, in America, you can get anything at all. And the temptation here, because it is so, it is not just America, the whole world is increasingly becoming used for instant gratification. Promises instant gratification with the revolutionizing of the technology and everything. And because of the technological revolution, all these things are there. And so one falls in love with the operative word being falls. Okay, one falls in love with the name and the form. And then the knowledge that is there, which is in fact you, that knowledge is not separate from you. And that's why you are able to look in the internet and see what kind of sweater to knit for your curry leaf plant. That is what you have to do. And then the why? Because you are that all knowledge. It is inhibited because you have a head, and Bhagavan doesn't have a head. Okay, that's why it's a knowledge that is not contained. It is a knowledge that is all knowledge, literally and figuratively, and it is not contained. It is not filtering through a head filled with the sawdust of raga and dvesha, all kinds of inhibitions, problems, preferences, prejudices. That's the only difference. But when I just look at this knowledge, when I look at the banana tree, when I look at any tree, when I look at any kind of leaf, a flower, all I see is knowledge. That is what is meaning Aksharat Parataf Paraha. Go beyond this mesmerizing world where you only see the products of creation. The product is finite and the product is delightful, no doubt. But that delight is not a property of the product. That is what we have to see. That delight that you experience when contacting the product is not a property of the product, is not a property of the object. Oh, then who does this delight belong to? Answer to any question I ask is you. Oh, but the delight belongs to me. How can you say, until I saw the flower? Until I saw the flower, I was sad. Then as soon as I saw the flower, I perked up. I sat up straight. There was a little bounce in my step, a spring in my step. And I had a little smile playing on my lips. So how can you say that the flower is not responsible for my happiness? I can say that. Because that is what the Upanishad teaches. The Upanishad does not deny, Vedanta does not deny a kind of a contact high, so to speak. So, when the subject contacts the object through any of the means of knowledge, there is an experience of delight that is not denied. But what is denied is that this experience of delight is because because of the inherent property of the object. No. The object cannot produce delight. And this we can say unequivocally. Why? Because if the object had the ability to produce delight, it should be delightful in all circumstances, in all situations, 24/7, 365. You should be happy with your miserable banana tree. But sometimes you look at it and wring your hands. Why? I'm giving you so much attention. I'm giving you so much love. Look, I even knitted a little pair of booties for your roots to keep you warm. And why for your little feet? And why are you not growing? Why are you not producing banana after 3.5 years? So that same banana tree, which was a source of delight, is no longer a source of delight. Why banana tree? It happens with a person also. That same person you just, quote unquote, fell in love with. It doesn't have to be romantically. It could be a friend. It could be somebody you met in a club, in a book club or something. And that same friend, after a while, becomes annoying. So it's very clear, because if the friend was a source of delight, no matter what, 24/7, 365, that person must be the source of delight. It's not possible, and it is not happening, whether it's with a person or an event or a thing. None of them are sources of delight, because if they were sources of delight, it should be there unchangingly so. But it's all about my relationship with that, in what mood I am. When I contact that potential object that has supposedly the power to make me happy, but it really doesn't. If I'm not happy already, if I look at something when I'm in a bad mood, I don't smile. I don't smile. And if I'm offered a delightful something, if I'm offered a delightful drink, this is just wonderful, this is your favorite, I made it specially for you. But then what do you say? Oh, I can't even imagine drinking it. I am oh so full. Please take it away. I can't even look at it. So how can the object produce delight? The object cannot produce delight, because it is, when you look at the object objectively, it is just Satchidananda with name and form. Name and form comes and goes. Name and form is variable, as is my relationship to the name and form. That is also variable based on the moods, based on the temperament of this particular name and form. And so, therefore, it is the fact that the myth that the object can produce delight is therefore completely negated, busted, negated. It's not possible for the object to produce delight. So the source of delight is not the object, but the subject. And you look for that subject in every object, and that is what makes for a wise living. A living with wisdom, a living with a kind of a object. So that means I should not like anything in the universe. I should be very stoic and just go about without smiling. No. Love whatever is there in the universe, but know what you are loving. That's what it is. What you're loving is yourself. What you're loving is that Ishvara, which is in the form, ultimately in the form of yourself. So therefore, Aksharat Parataf Paraha. That which is beyond the name, beyond the form, that which which lends its presence to every name and form, lends its knowledge to every name and form, lends its limitlessness to every name and form, so that when I look at the name and form, I confuse it for Satchidananda. Every name and form is Satchidananda. Satchidananda is not any name and form, because it is limitless. It can appear as everything without being any one thing. This is the idea. Further, what next? Now we are back again on Tatastha Lakshana, Ishvara as as the creator, etc. And then we'll see, and then the next few verses, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, and then 9, what else? Then 10, which I think is the conclusion of this section. So, until the conclusion of the section, from verse number 3 onwards, we more or less have Tatastha Lakshana, means the definition of Bhagavan from the standpoint of the universe as the source of the universe. So there's going to be a kind of a list of all that has come from Bhagavan. There may be some Swarupa, some discussion of Swarupa in between, but primarily it is Tatastha Lakshana alone. So let us see here now. Etasmad jayate pranah mano manas sarvendriyani cha etasmad jayate pranah manas sarvendriyani cha kham vayujyotirapah पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी. Etasmat. Etasmat means what? From that. From this. From this. This means Purusha. We have to add Purusha because that Purusha was given here already. So we are, so in the first sentence, we have referred to the noun. And so now we can have the pronoun. This. From this. From this Purusha alone, which was described as all knowledge, formless and limitless. Etasmat, from this alone is born. Jayate. Etasmat jayate is born. From this is born. What is born? Prana. The prana is born. I am not born. I am that Satchidananda, but the prana, the body is born, the prana is born. And the prana means the ability to sustain that life on earth or elsewhere. Doesn't matter, whatever the atmosphere may be there in other populated planets. So, etasmat jayate prana. The prana is born from this alone. That's why it was earlier described as aprana, itself not needing prana, and it is responsible for prana. That is the idea. Aprana. And then etasmat jayate prana. Then what else is born? The mind is also born from this. So Bhagavan is the author of my mind. Actually, that's very comforting. Because when anger comes, you know it is in order. It's so comforting. It's so nice. And so whenever you behave, how you're not supposed to behave, you can just say, okay, that is how the mind is. You can look at Ishvara from the standpoint of the psychological order because it's a law. Given this background, anger will come in these kinds of situations. Everybody has a trigger. So there are certain thresholds and trigger points. It's just how, managed those triggers are. So that's all it is. So those triggers are there. Core issues are there. Things that tick you off are there. And so that means what? That means it is there in every head. Sarvesham buddhau, the Bhagavad Gita says, ragadveshau vyavasthitau. In every buddhi, raga and dvesha are there. They abide in every buddhi. That means what? That means that I have preferences, I have prejudices, I have quirks. All these things are there. But then the ability to override them is also there. The free will to manage the anger and the desire is also given. So that is also, that we can't forget. Okay, that's the fine print. That also is there. So manaha, when you look at the psychological order in the form of Ishvara, it kind of calms one down from going into excessive guilt and or hurt and owning up the anger too much and then saying, oh, I'm just no good and I'm an idiot and I feel this. Even your fear is Bhagavan. Given this situation, the fear will come. There is nothing wrong in that. This is how it is. So when you look at it like this, then it no longer becomes your fear. It becomes a manifestation of Bhagavan. And then what else? All the indriyas, the clever sense organs were also given by Bhagavan, also made by Bhagavan. And then the source of this prana, this manaha, and this indriyas. What is the source? Oh, come on, you just told us it is Bhagavan. Yes, but that has a local source because it's a very intricate universe. The local source of the prana, the mind, and all the sense organs are the five elements which were created first because there is an order of the projection slash creation slash manifestation. And so what is that? Come means space. And then vayuhu, air. And then jyotihi, fire. Apaha, water. Prithvi, earth. And what is this? This Prithvi, the earth has a little bit of a nice adjective here. Vishwasya dharini Prithvi. The one that sustains the entire universe. She, the Mother Earth, who sustains the entire universe. So, very beautiful. So, this from this alone is my prana is born. See, this is how the alienation between the individual and the total is cut out completely. This is how the prana is, this is how my prana is born. My prana is a gift from the Purusha. My mind is a gift of Bhagavan, Ishvara, Purusha, God, and all the indriyas through which I contact the world, the sense organs through which the world is contacted. That is also a gift of Bhagavan. And how were these things created? These things these things are the product of the five elements, bhutas, pancha mahabhutas, also called, five elements. And then these are what? Bhautika, bhutebhyaha jatani, bhautikani. So these are all born of the pancha mahabhutas. These, which are the space, air, fire, water, and earth. You see, we are listing it from the subtlest, which is the space, to the grossest, which is Prithvi, which is the earth. So that is what it is. And then so I will just share. Some people ask the details of the DC program. Let me see if I can share that here. Niyati, are you there? Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Niyati, share that flyer. Share both of them, please. We are hoping to broadcast these. Just look at the East Coast time and come on this classroom. In all likelihood, we will be able to do that. Same thing for the Chandogya Upanishad 2 lectures from 8:30 to 9:30 Eastern time for the Shivananda Vietnam program on the 29th and 30th of March, East Coast time. So Niyati will share these two flyers and then you can have all the details. And if you're traveling there, welcome. Wonderful to have you. Surprise me. Come and see it. Not possible to share, Niyati? Having difficulty? There. Okay. There it comes. So that is one for the program on the 5th and the 6th. And then there is one also on the 7th. 7th also, there is one program in the evening. So that will be in the Washington, D.C. Metro area. One is in Maryland and one is, two are in Maryland and two are in, one more, the last one is in Virginia, okay, Northern Virginia. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. This class will meet next week, yes, because otherwise we will be missing quite a bit. Oh, next week we will have the meeting for this class. All right, yeah. And Meenal will update the website.